Good afternoon, students. Myself, Rupam, Assistant Professor of Department of Management, Brainerd University. Today, I will discuss about the sales forecasting and its method. This is very important topic of BBA fifth semester. That is the subject Sales and Distribution Management. Already, all of you have studied the marketing management as well as the research methodology. So after the marketing management, already you know that why the sales and the distribution is important. And today I will discuss about the sales forecasting because every company is needed that to know about the demand. So to know about the forecasting of their sales so that they can easily manage their warehouse, they can easily manage their production and everything. So that's why sales forecasting is important and we will discuss it today in details. So before we begin, let's outline our main learning objectives. By the end of this session, you will able to learn about understand the precise meaning and strategic significance of sales forecasting. Secondly, we will explore both qualitative and quantitative forecasting techniques. Third, you will develop the ability to choose the effectively apply different forecasting method. Fourth, we will critically analyze the strengths and limitations of each approach. And finally, we will understand the practical implication of sales forecasting in a real world business situation. So, what is sales forecasting? At its core, sales forecasting is the process of estimating future sales volume or value for a defined period. It's a fundamental predictive tool essential for strategic planning within an organization. This includes understanding key concepts like sales potential, sales quota, and market potential, which all feed into our overall sales forecast. Now, next move on to the importance of sales forecasting. The different sales forecasting impacts in various aspects for the business. It's crucial for budgeting for marketing and operations. It directly influences inventory and supply chain management. It helps in effective production planning and staffing decisions. It guides pricing and promotional strategies. And also, significantly, it builds investor confidence and helps in proactive risk management. Now, next, move on to the next slide. That is the different types of sales forecasting. That sales forecasting can generally be categorized by their time horizon on the basis of time frame. And here, the first is the short-term forecast, which are typically used for immediate operational decisions like daily or weekly productive schedules. Then there are medium-term forecasts, which are vital for budgeting and strategic planning, often looking ahead a few months to a year. And finally, long-term forecasts are essential for strategic planning like market entry decision and major capital investment, usually spanning several years. Next is about the sales forecasting progress because progress is very important without which you cannot do the sales forecasting. So for sales forecasting, progress is a systematic approach involving several key steps. The first step is we have to define our objectives. What exactly are we trying to forecast and why? Next, we have to select the appropriate methods based on our objectives and available data. And this is followed by data collection, gathering all relevant historical and current information. Then comes analysis and modeling, which we apply our chosen forecasting techniques. And finally, validation and revision, because it's crucial to review our forecast for accuracy and adjust them as new information becomes available. Because every day, every time, the new information coming up from the market, from the consumers. And we have to regularly revise our forecasting techniques for proper validation according to the market trends. Because a market is completely volatile and uncertain. yesterday what we have used in marketing for the marketing strategy that we cannot use in future. Every day with the implementation of the artificial intelligence, machine learning, as well as the digital marketing, the consumer behavior, consumer buying pattern is also changed. And that's why sales forecasting techniques should be changed according to the market alignment. So the next part is different classification of forecasting methods. As I already told in the earlier slide about the different progress, there I have mentioned about the different forecasting methods. So the classification of forecasting methods are basically in two categories. One is the qualitative methods, which are primarily based on opinions, judgments, and subjective assessments, and quantitative methods, which rely on historical data and mathematical models. Within quantitative methods, we have two subcategories: time series model and causal model. So the qualitative forecasting methods are particularly useful when historical data is limited or when there are significant shift in market conditions. That first is about the expert opinion, and which is involves soliciting forecast from individuals with specialized knowledge and experience. Next is about the sales force composite, where forecasts are gathered from individual salespeople and then aggregated to form an overall forecast. Next is your Delphi technique, very, very important. This is a structured communication technique designed to elicit expert opinions in a series of rounds, which with controlled feedback to reach a consensus. Next is about the market survey. This involves directly asking customers about their purchase intention, about their behavior, what they need. So its market survey is basically done through the questionnaire based method. Already you have studied in the research methodology that how to collect the data. So our next forecasting method is the quantitative forecasting method, which involves the time series analysis and causal analysis. So time series analysis is basically focuses on patterns within historical sales data, looking for trends, seasonality, and cyclical variations. Causal models, on the other hand, explore cause and effect relationship between sales and other influencing factors, often using techniques like regression and econometrics. So we will explain in details about the time series analysis. That this time series analysis is basically based on three things. One is the trend, seasonal, and cyclical. The trend refers to the long-term upward or downward movement in sales data. And what is a trend? That gradually the trend is gradually the sales will increase. So automatically we have to stock more product beforehand. Or in the opposite side, maybe the gradually sales is decreasing. So accordingly we have to think about our forecast. Next is about a seasonal, that there are repeating pattern in sales that occur or at regular intervals, like daily, weekly, or yearly, often tied to holidays or specific seasons. Like for an example, the seasonal, the example will be like the firecracker. So firecracker is basically it is sold during the festival seasons and mostly during the Diwali. So automatically the company, the marketers, the salespeople of this firecracker or this kind of products, they can identify or they can forecast the demand before the festival season. Next is a cyclical process. These represent longer term fluctuations in sales, often influenced by economic cycle like regression, like recession or booms. Okay, so it's a cyclical process. Every time, like for example, the financial investment. So normally our financial year ends at in the month of March. So during the March, at lot of people they wants to invest in different financial instruments because to minimize their tax liability. Okay, so that's the cyclical process. Our next method, that is the moving average method. So moving average method is a very, very simplest time series method, and this technique smooths our short-term variation data. For example, a 3-month moving average calculates the average sales over the past 3 months. While it's simple to implement a limitation, is that it tends to ignore external factors that might influence sales. So moving average is basically like, for example, this is the month of June, and for the month of July, I can predict the overall sales will be the average of previous 3 months, like the April, May, June. So the total demand or total sales of these 3 months and divided by 3, so that will be the average. So this amount or this unit will be the demand for the month of July. Okay. The next method is the exponential smoothing. That exponential smoothing is another very popular time series method. It's basically a little bit technical your analysis, and it's more responsive than simple moving average because it weights recent data more heavily, because there are a lot of factors, lot of external factors influence on the sales also. Lot of geopolitical factors also influence the sales. Okay, so as you can see the formula, and here the FT is the new forecast at T minus 1 is the actual sales from the previous period, and FT minus 1 is the previous forecast, where alpha is the smoothing constant determining how much weight is given to the most recent observation. Okay, the next part is the trend projection. Trend projection is also some kind of technical things. That trend projection is typically used for the linear regression to forecast sales, assuming a relatively stable environment. The method involves plotting historical sales data, and it's as every one of you know, the linear your equation, linear regression equation is basically y equal to a plus bx, where y is a dependent, that is the sales, dependent on x, that is the time, and a is the intercept or b is the slope. So this is the trend projection. Now move on to the next method of sales forecasting, that is the causal model. So for causal models are basically the very powerful because it helps to understand the relationship between the sales and the other influencing factors. That why it's happened and what are the different factors such as advertising expenditures. They often employ a simple and multiple regression analysis. For instance, we might analyze how change in advertising budget impacts sales. These models are particularly useful for evaluating the return on investment for various marketing or operational initiatives. Now, next is the different factors that affecting the forecast accuracy. Already we have discussed a lot of methods of sales forecasting. Now we will discuss about the different factors. The first factor is the data quality. Is basically if the data quality will be inaccurate or incomplete, so definitely the forecasting will be inaccurate. Next is the market volatility that can make forecasting challenging. Or as already I told earlier that market is constantly change and volatile or uncertain. So definitely it's create very challenge for the forecasting methods. Next is the product life cycle. Already, I hope that every one of you know the product life cycle. That's the different life cycle of product from the introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. And it's also effect on the sales forecasting for a particular product. Next is the competitor actions, that how competitor drastically affects in the market. Like for example, Jio, because when Jio comes into the market, they provide free of cost internet facility and call facility. And where at that time the Airtel, Vodafone, BSNL and other companies, they thought that what to do. But Jio completely provide the free internet, free call facility for everyone. So that is the competitor actions. Next is the broader economic action that also play a significant role in overall market demand. Now, also there are some common errors that definitely we have to discuss for the sales forecasting. First is the over reliance on trends without considering other factors. Already I told, ignoring qualitative input, which can provide crucial insights not captured by data alone. Because data says something else. Data says that previous sales, previous month sales was so high. So this one also sales may be high, but maybe through the qualitative input, I can understand about the market. Next is the poor tool uses or misapplying forecasting techniques and critically not updating forecasting regularly to reflect changing market conditions. Now, last is about the applications of sales forecasting. The sales forecasting is used in different retail sectors that for efficient stock management. Sales forecasting is used in the manufacturing unit also for drive production scheduling, and definitely most important for the marketing, for planning and executing effective marketing campaigns. And finally the finance, that for financial projections, and also the investment decisions, that how much profit a company will gain. And we are already at the last slide of this PPT, that is about the summary. So to summary, sales forecasting is a vital strategic tool for any business. The key is to choose the most appropriate method based on your specific context and available resources. Often the most robust forecast result from combining both qualitative and quantitative approaches. And remember, forecasting is an ongoing process. You must continuously update and improve your forecast, because always remember that market is volatile and uncertain. So in last that from this inter class, the sales forecasting and this sales forecasting method, I am concluding the presentation, and also I am giving some questions for you, that you can explore different challenges specific to startup in sales forecasting, and also the evolving role of machine learning in sales forecasting, or the implication of adopting a conservative versus optimistic forecasting. So just do it at your home, and if you face any problem, you can ask me, you can consult. So with this, I am concluding the whole session and whole class. So if you have any doubt, you can touch to me and you can WhatsApp me. Thank you. We will meet in the next class. Thank you.